welcome to the Oral Health Podcast. We have a whole episode today dedicated to St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day actually has quite a surprising link to oral health. Statistically, the day after St. Patrick's Day is the day that the most dental emergency appointments are requested out of the entire year across America and other parts of the world. And when you think about the activities that tend to go down on St. Patrick's Day, like drinking and lots of sports and merriment, you can kind of understand why. Now, I have a real-life Irish person filling in for me today, as I, of course, am not Irish, so I've asked a member of staff to fill in for me. Stacey McMaster is part of the PR department in the Oral Health Foundation team, and she's also been born and raised in Ireland, in Northern Ireland to be specific, and so she knows a little bit more about St. Patrick's Day and the impact that it has than I do, so I really hope that you enjoy.
A real-life Irish person. It'd be very strange if I wasn't.
Well, yeah, it would make for a very short podcast, wouldn't it? And you see, we knew that your Irishness would come in useful at some point.
Probably also helps Ginger really sells my credentials for anyone who's listening.
I'll tell you what, all you need is the green.
I do.
A shillelagh and a big green hat, and we've got you.
You really do.
You're like our little St. Patrick's Day mascot. Yeah.
But for anyone who's listening, by the way, and doesn't know what on earth St. Patrick's Day is, by the way, it's basically a celebration of, well, all things Irish. It started out originally focusing mainly on Christianity in Ireland and was a celebration of St. Patrick. And for those of you who don't know who St. Patrick is, he lived about 4th century, I believe. We're not really quite sure, but he's very famous for a number of things, especially over in Ireland. So one of the things is he drove all the snakes out of Ireland.
So have they not come back then? I suppose they can't swim, can they?
No, that's the main reason we don't believe there ever was snakes in Ireland.
And he didn't get his sainthood just for the snake bit, did he?
No, he didn't. He got the sainthood because he was well known for basically going over there and preaching and spreading Christianity.
Okay.
So he's very popular in both the Christian world and, funny enough, in America as well. Exceptionally popular now.
I know Ireland is a very, very proud nation, and I've visited Ireland several times, and I've never been to Northern Ireland. I've only ever been to Southern Ireland, though. Which I should venture out into. But I've always loved my time in Ireland. I think the people are just amazing and are they're very amusing as well, I have to say. And as we find you very amusing, Stacey. You have some very, very good turn of phrases which could only have come from Ireland.
Only have come from my brain, I feel, at times.
Yes, and that brain was produced in Ireland, so I don't think it's just you.
Yes, but we do have quite the reputation, especially my family as well, although I would like to say for the record, my mother doesn't drink. She has never drunk, she never will. But we do have quite the reputation for drinking, and it gets even more so on St. Patrick. The Guinness, the whiskey.
Irish whiskey.
Irish Bushmills whiskey. One of my family members used to be the taste tester for Irish whiskey.
Wow. I bet he was banging on the door in the morning to let him in. He was never late for work, was he?
Oh, no. But the funny thing was that the reason he got the job, apparently, was because he was especially Christian and wouldn't swallow it. He just liked the taste.
Oh, so spat it out.
Spat it out, which is probably not good for your teeth either, squishing
it's
around
not.
your mouth with whiskey.
No, I mean, he would have been better. Well, if he's a taster, then obviously he's got to get it on his taste buds. So he couldn't even use a straw because he wasn't just swallowing it.
No.
So, yes, he probably had quite eroded teeth because we are talking about, I mean, okay, a lot of the sugar turns to alcohol, but there is still sugar in it and it's acidic. So, yeah, it's probably not the ideal thing for his teeth. So, I don't suppose you know whether his teeth were any good.
I'm not sure at all. But is Guinness also the same? It's a very popular drink. Is there lots of sugar in that too because of the alcohol?
It's probably less, but I mean, it is a fermented process. It's very sort of because what is it? It's a stout, isn't it? It's not like drinking a beer, is it? It's much creamier. I think it's probably got a lot of calories in it, I would have thought.
Definitely. I know for a fact it certainly does.
But they do the Guinness Zero, which apparently is pretty good.
Oh.
I've heard tell.
I've never had it, so I couldn't comment.
Well,
never had a Guinness Zero.
Well, there you go. That's your Paddy's Day this year.
Yeah.
Your mission, should you choose to take it, is to have a zero Guinness alcohol. I still think it's probably not going to be great for your teeth, but
could always be.
And
worse.
I can't see your street cred going up any higher drinking Guinness with a straw.
No, I can't. But I imagine if I was to go over to America and do that, I could probably get away with it.
Maybe. I think that it's. You probably would go through the head. You'd be ending up with just the head left, wouldn't you? Because you'd drink the Guinness from underneath and the head would stay. You wouldn't get that Guinnessy moustache.
No, I wouldn't get the white moustache. Be a bit disappointing.
That's part of it, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, it is a day that I think out of all the Saints' days, it's the most celebrated, isn't it?
It's
most celebrated.
The most popular.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether anyone knows really what you do when you celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but a lot of it is parades and marching down. Funny enough, one of the first Patrick's Day parades was actually a group of soldiers marching down to the pub when they were over in America.
So most of the action is you're basically a lot of people walk into the pub together.
Oh yes, but
and that's
also
called a march.
Music, drinking, dancing, all that lovely sort of stuff. I think even, which river is it? They dye green. I think, is it Boston? I know
Boston has a very big Irish contingent, and they do have a big parade on St. Patrick's Day.
Definitely do. But mind you, though, over there, dental accidents that occur.
And I couldn't believe that when you told me.
Well, I originally got the statistics from our dear friend who usually does the podcast, Sophie. And while they are shocking, at the same time, I can believe it happening. Do you know what I mean?
So are we talking trauma here?
We are talking trauma.
We're talking trauma.
Emergency dental visits.
Okay, so we're talking falls.
We're talking fighting.
Okay.
We're talking, actually, it mentioned as well, people trying to bite someone.
Okay.
And that went badly wrong, apparently. I can't imagine why.
Well, I mean, I suppose, you mix high-spirited people and alcohol, and you do tend to get sort of pockets of people arguing and it turning into fighting. I mean, it could be family feuds, and probably religion again. And you're mixing religions together is a sort of a...
I'm not going to comment on that for obvious reasons. But yes, it can definitely play a part. Drinking, alcohol, and extended periods of drinking can often lead to falls and dental traumas.
Falls when you're dancing and tripping over people and that kind of thing. So... yeah, I mean, I was surprised when you first said it, but now we're talking about it, I can understand it.
An increase of 64% of dental emergency visits. How lovely. But there's a few things we can probably do to maybe stop doing that. And that's probably to be a bit more aware of ourselves, realise how much we're drinking, and if you do happen to have a fall, make sure you get seen as quickly as possible.
Okay, so we're talking about, if you knock a tooth out, we've done a video a while back on what to do if you knock a tooth out. So
I think that's one I was starring in as well, funny enough.
Oh, it was, yes, you were the star.
Yes, I was.
The acting was...
amazing. I was so good, honestly, just
really,
perfect.
Really, the pain on your face. It was almost like mine watching it. So if you do accidentally knock a tooth out, ideally what you want to do is to put it back in the socket as soon as you can. Bite on a pad of cotton wool or a handkerchief, but keep biting for 20, 30 minutes. Get to the dentist. Obviously this year we're on a Sunday, so maybe not on the Sunday, but you should be able to find an emergency dentist. The sooner that you can get that tooth back in the socket, the more chance it has of surviving. If, for example, the tooth is broken, don't try and put it back in. If it's dirty, you can run it under some water, but don't touch it. Don't rub it with anything. You just want to run it under the water, don't touch it, and put it back in. If you can't get it back in, or you're a bit squeamish about getting it back in, the ideal place is to keep it between the cheek and your jawbone.
And try
inside
not
your
to
mouth.
swallow it.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. If somebody is imbibed, you may not want to do that because they could swallow it. So you can keep it in a little bit of milk. There are special kits which, you know, some bars may want to keep in at this time of year, where the pot actually has some solution in there. You can actually get a little pot and use your own saliva to spit in the pot and put your tooth in. I suggest you probably use your own and not somebody else's, but that's another story, I suppose. But yes, if you're not likely to find something like that, unless you're playing a sport, maybe. Do they have anything sort of traditional, is it like that? Cheese rolling or anything like that?
That's an English tradition. What we have, and is very popular over in Ireland, is something called hurling. And that is one of the most popular sports over in Ireland. What it is, it's basically a great big long stick. In fact, probably about...
Okay.
I'm trying to think of how to describe it, but imagine you're standing up and it's about up to your, say, shoulder length, I'm going to say.
Depends how tall you are, really, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, so a little bit like lacrosse.
A bit, yes.
Okay. I went to a good school, you know.
Oh, yes.
That's why I know about that.
But yes, we're very competitive about it over there, and it's definitely something you play on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, so that would be outdoors.
Oh, outdoors.
Okay, so you're chucking a relatively hard ball around from a big stick.
Yes.
Okay, that I can't see any danger in that at all, can you?
Now, back in the 4th century when St. Patrick was around and alive, I don't know whether he existed, but I do definitely know that they didn't have mouth guards. Nowadays, I'm fairly sure that they do.
I'm reasonably confident to say that the people probably don't put mouth guards in the middle of a St. Patrick's Day hurling competition.
Well,
do you think? Oh, okay.
I would say they probably would if an Irish mammy was there.
Yeah, you have to listen to your Irish mammy.
Although my mother doesn't like getting called mammy, she prefers mum.
Positively not Irish then, if she doesn't drink and she's not called mammy.
Mind you, though, the last time we went out for dinner anywhere, we had to translate for her because her accent's that thick.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, you've been over here for so long, I can't believe how very Irish you are.
I mean, I do go back and visit the family quite regularly. However, I must admit, for anyone who's listening, my accent doesn't sound all that Irish. And that's because it's gone into a weird mix of Northern Irish and the northeast of England. So I'm a weird mesh now, but I am still very Irish.
You are very Irish. Is it St. Patrick's birthday? Is that why we celebrate it?
It's actually his death day.
Oh.
I mean, it'd be a bit strange if he was still around, like.
Well, yeah, he'd be very old, wouldn't he? He'd probably be still telling that story about the snakes. It'd be that boring old bloke that sits in the corner telling you about how he got rid of the snakes in Ireland, where there weren't any anyway. Yeah. I don't think the leprechaun has anything to do with St. Patrick's Day.
It's not, but it's
just an Irish thing.
Basically, we've got a really big...
They're not very nice, though, are they?
Well, the leprechauns are meant to be fae or fairies, basically, and we've got a long oral tradition in Ireland of basically if anything goes wrong, it's the fairies or the fae, and they're the ones that are doing it. But every once in a while, we like to pat ourselves on the back and say we can actually get one over on them. So by stealing the leprechaun's gold, it's us getting the one over on them. Okay,
so... the advice is, as I said before, try and moderate what you're drinking. Try and drink with a straw if you possibly can. Try and avoid any conflict that may cause trauma to your teeth and your mouth. Just play safe with your hurling.
Look after your friends.
Yeah. And just try and have a fun day and let it be fun, and let's not have any fall accidents and things like that. Go out for trip hazards.
Yes.
And let's see if we can have a St Patrick's Day where we can lessen that percentage of dental incidents.
And if you're looking to fill up before you head out on the drink, a very traditional Irish meal for you to have is corned beef and cabbage.
I couldn't think of anything worse.
Oh no, you couldn't, could you? But it's absolutely delicious.
Oh.